In our last video, I briefly went over a few of the Spider-Man variants I could identify shortly after the release of the trailer for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It does go so much more in depth than the three I mentioned though. We of course have our protagonists, Miles Morales, Peter B. Parker, and Gwen Stacy, who we saw in the last film. The first Spider of note is Miguel OHara, Spider-Man 2099, who made a brief appearance in the post-credit scene of Into the Spider-Verse, and we saw in the first look for Across the Spider-Verse a year ago. Miguel will again be voiced by Oscar Isaac, and it appears that his Spider-Man will be at odds with our protagonists, at least for the beginning of the film. Spider-Man 2099 is one of the most popular iterations of Spider-Man, debuting as early as the 90s, back when future versions of characters were pretty common in media. What's even more interesting, and something I didn't notice until I was editing the last video, was the inclusion of Spider-Man Unlimited, the other future Spider-Man who appeared in an animated series of its own name. It also has a very interesting history that I might cover in another video. Next we have Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, voiced by Issa Rae. This character was pretty unrelated to Spider-Man initially, different origins, costume design, and power set. This rendition of the character is no exception, but even the costume and abilities seem to differ significantly from the traditional comic counterpart. Then we get to the background Spider-Man. One is seen wearing the symbiote suit. It's uncertain which version of Spider-Man this could be, but I hope that it's an iteration of Ultimate Spider-Man. We previously saw this version of the character donning the symbiote suit in the game Shattered Dimensions, so it would be cool to get a reprise on that version of the character. We also briefly touched on this before, but the Insomniac Spider-Man can be seen very clearly in the trailer. Yuri Lowenthal, who voices the character in the Insomniac games, has also carried over to voicing Peter Parker in Midnight Suns, so I hope he reprises his role for the film in some form. I also saw some speculation that the person he is walking with is the Insomniac universe's Miles Morales, which would be really cool to see, but I feel like the costume is much more in line with Ben Reilly's version of Spider-Man or Spider-Girl. Also a correction that somebody made in the comments of my previous video. That is not the anti-ox suit, but rather the Spider Armor Mark II, or the bulletproof spider armor. It does look very similar though, so hopefully you can see where I was mistaken. We also see a version of the bombastic Bagman. In my previous video I was gonna point out this individual up here, thinking it was a Kraven the Hunter variant of Spider-Man. This is actually a werewolf version of Spider-Man though. We also see Lady Spider from the steampunk Marvel universe walking with a spider variant that appears to be based on Alex Ross artwork. We've also got Spider-Cop, Spinneret, Spiderling, and Spidey from the Marvel Mangaverse. We also have a few other spiders we know are confirmed to appear that we haven't seen in the trailer yet, such as Spiderman, the Japanese Spider-Man from a 1970s live-action series, Spider-Punk, a foul-mouthed variant of Spider-Man who is going to be voiced by Daniel Kaluuya, then the rumored appearances of Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield from their Spider-Man films, and the animated versions of Spider-Man from the 90s Fox Kids series, and the Spectacular Spider-Man. I'm really excited for this movie if you couldn't tell. Into the Spider-Verse is one of my favorite animated films, and one of my top Marvel films, so I really can't wait to see this in June. I'm glad this trailer had the restraint in what they are showing us. They could have given us every single Spider-Man variant that appears in the film, and they held back, and I truly appreciate that, and I can't wait to see them all when the film releases in June. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments below, and click on screen for another video. And let us know if you like these long form videos. I wanted to try and get into the habit of making more of these.